Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Beer with the Boss, the podcast where a guy and his boss have a beer together, talk about technology and whatever is trending out there. In this episode of Beer with the Boss, we'll explore the theme of the future of work. We'll delve into the trends shaping the way we work, including the rise of remote work and flexible work arrangements, the growing importance of digital skills, and the critical role of DevOps practices and tools in supporting new work environments. So stay tuned, join us as we discuss the challenges and opportunities of the future of work and share strategies for staying ahead of the curve in a rapidly changing world. As you know, I'm Rodrigo Matos. I work at Webera.
And I'm Joe Zamboni, CEO at Webera and co-host of the show. Cheers to another episode of the Beer with the Boss.
Cheers,
That's
Joe.
an awesome subject. And what are you drinking today, Rodrigo?
I am back to simple beer today. I'm drinking Beck's because I didn't have time to go to the store, so I just ordered in the app. How about you, Joe? What are you drinking?
Oh, the very Guinness.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So cheers. Cheers. So what do you think about this theme, Joe? We talked about remote work in a couple of episodes already. And of course, remote work is, I guess, part of the future of work. But how do you see the future?
Yeah, it was in the past also, right? But people didn't like to use, but now they had to learn. They had to be forced to learn. I guess we always try to find out what's going to happen with the work, right? How did we, since we start to study the work, I think in end of 1800s or something like that, when those old administration guys, Taylor, those guys start to study the behavior of people in factories and things like that, and how the simple idea of like having a supervisor or something made people work more, things like that. I think that, or make them not work more, but like have someone to like feel more proud of their work. I think that's the right way to say. It is always changing, right? And sometimes we have these changes who force us to a new stats, like the water can be 0 degrees Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit and still not freezing, but when something happened, it frozen like right away. So I think same things life. Like we are all kind of working remotely. Everybody has a VPN and things like that. Then boom, everybody works remote. And now things are going back, but they're not the same. So let's explore a little bit of the subject.
Let's do it. So first question for you, what are some of the things that you think businesses can do to prepare for the future or for the future of work?
Yeah, for the future of work. Yeah, I guess first thing will be investing technology could help them to be hybrid or full remote or whatever the way they want. So not work in a single way, like think hybrid first or think remote first, and then you do the office after. And then also technology, then ways to manage and collaborate with employees, because if you are a hybrid, you always will have someone in the meeting that's not local, or even remote office, right? You can have multiple remote offices, which is still, and if you think about like, even if you are in the same room, you're not really on the side of an employee looking at the screen. So it's still working remotely. You just have a sensation. It's like you work on your computer. And you work on the culture, right? Culture of collaboration and inclusion. That is like an important thing, like we were talking about the other day. There's no way to think in a company without inclusion. Like the different races, they're not going away. They're not going to disappear. Different colors or ways to have like genders and things like that, they're not going away. So just accept it as fast as you can, accept, and everybody respect to like to everybody. It'll be easy. We are all in the same blue ball. So figure out this thing. It'll be easier to us. People will not disappear. Do not be vanish. Like one race will not vanish anymore, guys. It's too many people of anything.
Too many.
Yeah. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, don't have desires for that. Don't have desires for that. Don't wish that for anyone.
I guess that's great. That's great. Just like get ready to welcome whatever changes are going to be there. Be prepared because things are going to change. This is something that I always say, like, be prepared. Something is going to change. Things are going to change. Things are not going to be the same. I was working in a company before the pandemic, and it was we had the option to work remotely a few days a month, but you had to request that. You had to be approved by someone. Everybody felt like kind of scared of asking to work from home, and then a pandemic hit us, and in 2 weeks the whole culture of having to ask to work from home was not an option anymore, and the office was like they didn't have an office anymore, so they didn't have to pay for that. So things are going to change, and you have to be ready. Remote work is just the beginning, of course, but yeah, I think the things you said are amazing and do make sense. However, I want to ask you, Joe, how can, thinking about like the remote work and embracing remote work, how can we maintain like strong culture, like not only remote work, but thinking about hybrids and flexible work arrangements that are out there and companies are starting to approach now? How can company culture still be kept?
So the first thing that I think we believe it's like recognize this as a problem. Like you have to recognize that you have to keep your culture in a way, even people working whatever they are. So think about this. Okay, if in my culture I have the way to do like a very, how can I say, structure org chart, right? So I have boss, I have the manager, directors, and all the structure of a normal company. Okay, how can I keep this? People knowing to who they have to report, people who know who they have to ask for what service. So you have to recognize this. Okay, I have to keep this working. If I have a culture of let's say very aggressive targets on sale or very aggressive targets on deliverables or very aggressive I don't know ways to control costs and things like that, be sure to make it public in several ways, not only one channel. Have multiple channels to say the same thing. You can invest even email, SMS. There's many tools out there that can help you to communicate. Chat is very important. Chat those days, people. I think the only interface that computers will have in the future will be chat. We're going back to command line in the chat. And so be aware of this, that you have to communicate your culture for different channels. I think that is the good approach, and embrace both. Try to promote events about your culture. Try to, like ourselves, we have 2 weekly meetings. One that is first meeting of the week at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Brazil, 9 p.m. What's called Philippines.
Yeah.
And we all meet, and that's a good thing. Like we know what's gonna happen this week, and we have another one that we go and talk that is on Friday mornings. And during the week we have all the stand-ups. Make sure that people participate on a stand-up. Make sure that they are aware that is a stand-up, that it's the time that you have not only to tell what you are working on, but to also listen to what others are going on and understand if your work could be impacted by something that other people are doing. We used to do this scrum of scrums. Also, we may go back to do that some complain. So create those opportunities to people to really interact and share. And I think there is a phrase or something like that. I think culture eats something for breakfast. I think rules or something like that. What was the phrase? I don't remember anymore.
I don't remember that.
Culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. So if you don't have Peter Drucker, I think is the name of the guy.
Yeah.
He says culture eats strategy for breakfast. And yes, if you don't have a good culture, doesn't matter the strategy that you create. People not follow, people do something else. So yeah, it's a struggle. I mean, I know I have a company. Sometimes people do things that it was like, we don't say that anywhere in our documents, policies, or ways to work. It's like, why are you doing that? Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but it's a learning. Like then you see that the guys were right. Anyway.
But I think this is maybe something that actually maintain a strong culture in a company is what we do at Webeta, because you're the CEO. You could very easily just say, this is the way we work. These are our values. This is our mission. This is our vision. And very recently, you updated some of the values and you invited the company to, share your feedback, say, what do you think? Do you think it makes sense? Like, I think this is a very good way of maintaining a strong culture, is inviting people to build that culture together, right? Because at the end of the day, we are the ones that are exercising the culture of the company, right?
Yeah, and the update was exactly on this. So I thought I saw that some of the values, although were written in a way that we thought that makes sense for everyone, not everyone understood. I think the one that caught more attention was the share thing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, because the share one, it was something like share, like in a way that you say to
It was
people,
like self-explainable, something like that, right?
yeah, or something like that, right? If I'm not mistaken. And then because I thought that everyone else understand that if you share something, you just share with your passion, like you are literally trying to show something to other people that you think that they don't know, and you add value for them. So that was my own thinking about sharing, right? Not sharing a picture of your plate on Instagram. That's not what it meant. But then we changed, instead of share exclamation, we changed to purposeful sharing, which is like have a purpose of when you share something. So it I think is a little longer than one word. It's true, but it means more. And then we update the explanation. So those are the things that we improve. And again, it's on this concern of creating a culture that will grow the company and help everyone.
Very good. Yep. Very good. Yeah, invite people. Well, for those listening to us, I thought we were not going to talk about DevOps. Silly mistake. Joe, how can DevOps practices help bridge this gap between remote team members and foster collaboration? How can DevOps help us?
DevOps is a movement, right? It now become a job position, but I still try to push to become like a platform engineering instead of DevOps, but because I think it explains more what's the meaning of being a DevOps in these days. You're building a platform for the company that you're working to. But the idea is that DevOps can bridge the gap between the teams, like between the developers and the product team and the management, because we can help with the tools and the information, like the version control system, like all the to streamline the collaboration. Like we know where the work is, and sometimes we are part of the work, sometimes we're not, but at least we know, we have the data. So we know how many tickets are there, who's working where is that ticket, where is the code for that ticket. So we have this so we are working to support all the teams. We are the glue, we are the pipeline. So we are the pipeline that moves the pieces of the creative work in the company. So I think DevOps is essential in those days of hybrid in remote work.
That's cool. My next question would exactly bring this also hybrid approach to work. I'm wondering, in your opinion, what kind of tools? We know that DevOps is one of the frameworks and as you said, what did you
Let's
say?
not talk
Movement.
about DevOps. Let's see. Can you talk about the tools like on the other side, not on the DevOps, but like
Yeah,
other
no,
tools that people
yeah,
can
absolutely.
use?
Absolutely, I think that for like to combine and to for remote work and hybrid kind of work environment to work and for these people to work together, we have several examples of tools that we can use and processes. I guess let's think about a framework first. I think Scrum as a framework is a very good example of something that you don't need to be in the same environment, and it helps you organize your structure and how things are going to happen. And then, of course, to put it in practice, we can use different tools and processes. Let's think about some tools. Any type of project management tool. We use several of them. So we spoke about it in the Notion episode, right? Currently, we're using Notion because we can use Notion to not only be our board with our Scrum board, but we can also use Notion to be our wiki and our feature database, our product documentation, everything in one place. Some companies are using Jira. We have ClickUp, Trello, Asana, Monday.com, all these project management tools that are in the market for years and years. Of course, I think that you need to have some processes very well defined in your company that will make things or keep people on the same page. Like if you need to have a day off, and you can have a day off, how will everybody know that you have a day off? Well, if you have a process that you can just inform or request to HR or whoever, or to your project manager or whoever is there working in your team, that you're going to be out of the office. I guess one very important. While I'm speaking, I'm thinking of something that's one of my favorite tools, Google Calendar. It's so simple, but it changes the way people work, and it's so important especially for remote teams and hybrid teams, because you know if that person is available or not. You know if you can book a meeting or not. So you're not going to see that person in the office. So I'll book a meeting, and if that person accepts the meeting, that person will be there. Yeah, I guess the chat, Google Chat or Slack, or I don't want to say the one tool that I hate. Everybody will know which tool is that. I don't want to say their name, but it starts with M. It's a horrible tool. Yeah, what do you think, Joe? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think you're right on the tools. Like we have to have a tool, but let me tell you something about calendars that I learned when I was migrating. Like in 2012 or something, like 10 years ago, literally, I was moving a company from Exchange, Microsoft Exchange, to Google. And then I had a problem because for some reason the guys pushed back the date or something, and I ended up myself with a laptop by myself to migrate 7,000 users to Google. It's
Oh
like,
my God.
fuck, what am I going to do this year? So they moved the dates, and then I was like, I had one night to move 7,000 users. I was like, okay, how can I do that? And then I did some tests during the day. What was the best way to do the migration? And I figured out, okay, the best way is because it was in South America, the country that I was doing the migration, the best way was to extract the data from Exchange, copy the data to a machine in US, and then use a tool from Google to upload the data to Exchange, to Google. So it was much faster, because if we did directly from Latin America, I think the latency between Latin America and US was causing the migration to take long. I did this. The day after, in the morning, when everything was, I worked the entire night and everything was live, we received like maybe of the 7,000, we received maybe like 2 tickets in the help desk. Oh, where are my calendars? I was like, oh, but I migrated the calendar. It's here. The data is here. Move it on. And then I opened a ticket. I was with Google. I was like, oh, did you use this tool? This tool, when it's reading from the PSTs, the format, it doesn't migrate the calendar data to the calendar itself. It creates a new calendar and moves the data there. So it was like a double calendar at a time.
Okay.
So oh my God, 7,000 people with the calendar. they have another calendar now, and they have no date on the main calendar. I was like, oh man, these people are gonna kill me. And then I was like, okay, I think I can do the migration again, or so just move the calendar if it becomes a problem, right? We had like maybe less than 20 tickets open about it and nothing else. So I learned that people in Office, they don't
They
use the
don't use
calendar.
the. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
It was like just 7,000 people was like just, I
20
don't know,
people.
20 people complain. It was like,
No
no, man,
way.
that's not true. Oh my God. So,
It is
I
true
mean, it
though.
was 2000, it's 2012, right? It's not, I mean, but I mean, we already have iPhones at that time. So
Yeah.
it isn't that long ago. I mean, or is, I don't know. But it was a lessons learned on tools that you believe people are using and people not really. Anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, nowadays, I know like 2012, it was important, but especially I remember in 2012, I was working for Dell. My team was already, already had a boss overseas. I already had like, I was working with people from all over the world. And if you don't have your calendar, how can you, how can you know when you have like,
Unbelievable. I know.
yeah, but I mean, nowadays more than ever, you have if you have a hybrid team, or I mean, if you don't work by yourself, even if you work by yourself, you need Google Calendar or any other type of calendar, and it's difficult. Some people don't really understand that, but it's all right. And Joe, of course, productivity is important. And at the beginning of our chat today, you said about the fact that in the 1800s or the 1900s, they realized that having a supervisor would increase your productivity, or you feel prouder of your work. How do you think it is possible for companies to be sure that their team is being productive, as they are not in the same place, as they are working in completely different parts of the world? How can we manage productivity?
So I guess that's the real. That's why people from the richest man in the world to the guy who just started to managing a remote team, like everyone is afraid of people not working remotely, and it is true. Like I have friends who are friends of mine, and they skip work while working remotely, and I know that. I know them. I know they are doing. But I have other friends and I have my team who I believe doesn't skip work or work even more than people work in the office. The truth is, you are in the office and you really know if the person is really working for you. So if you have a management problem of people not working for you, they could be not working for you right in front of you. That is not a problem of remote work. Lack of productivity is something that it can happen anywhere. The problem, like I mentioned, and I think I did a video on YouTube, you can catch up the video on our channel, We Are Webera, is in general, remote work doesn't have the clear separation between your home and your work. So these things sometimes create. So in a way, you have to set clear expectations for and goals for what is expected for each one in a company, so they will be aware of what they need to do. That's important. So it's a little bit not that you shouldn't do on an office, but in the office is this is more flexible. We as a managers can be more relaxed with that. That's the truth. So as if you are a manager of someone in an office, you it's quite easy to not be clear about what you want because they can just come to you and ask. While in a remote setup, you have to be clear upfront. So that's a problem for managers. If the manager is complaining too much about remote work, is because he cannot be clear to what he wants or what he needs, or maybe the company is not clear to him about it, and that's a problem too. And that I think could be a long answer, but you can cut me when you wanted to talk about. But like provide some tools, right? That you talked about, have the right tools. I think we talk about having a regular communication is a good thing. So like have these stand-up meetings and things like that that people can have, and also make sure that you have open channels, because one thing that we deal sometimes is like people wait for the stand-up meeting to tell that they're blocked.
Yeah.
That cannot happen. Like people that to be afraid of doing that. It's like, oh, maybe we should say that if you come to the stand-up meeting blocked, you
Yeah.
have to do something.
If that block didn't show up 1 minute ago, something's
Before the
wrong.
stand-up meeting, something is wrong. Like if you are blocked on something, there's wrong. Like we should remove that question from the stand-up meeting. You cannot bring blocked things to the meeting. Like it's wrong. Like we remove the block column from the spreadsheet. Like you can't be blocked on anything. If you cannot execute, oh, you depend on one task of other person, go help the other person to finish that task.
That took me a little while to understand why you said no, we're not gonna have the blocked column on the board. I was like, but why? What if the person is blocked? Well, if the person is blocked, this thing has to be solved. Person cannot stay blocked, right?
Yeah. Go and solve. Ask someone or go help. It's like I'm blocked because of someone. Okay, here's your chance to help. Go and help. It's like if you're not doing anything, go and help someone to do their job, right? Track progress. This is another important thing. Like now we are tracking progress of people. If people are not working, track performance like we are doing. I think we have a good track performance. We know that some people are working things that are outside of the board. Some people are working and being blocked. It's like, go help. It's like, and I think we need to figure out the ways to tell this more. But like, provide feedback, and that's one that's both ways. But I think people are most expecting for good feedback, and then when they receive a bad feedback, they don't consider as a feedback. It's like, no, that is your feedback. It's cold, I know, but
feedback hurts. I said it today in a meeting. Feedback hurts, but it's good when it hurts. Go fix that. Sometimes feedback hurts.
Yeah, it's like, be like, have some pride, right? No, he told me that I'm wrong. No, I will prove that I'm not wrong. I will do this right, or maybe you figure out, I was wrong. That's awesome. It's like you learn something. Yeah. So trust another one. Yeah, we really should trust each other. So and there's many things that we do trusting, and we may people may abuse. But that's fine. That's on them. That's not on you. Flexibility is another one, right? We at Webera, today we have our main product is called DevOps as a Services, which is like a person to a client or multiple people to a client. Is like a dedicated resource. We're trying to change this to be more like our managed DevOps service, not because we wanted to make more money or anything. It's because we see that if we have a unified process with multiple people capable of resolving problems, is easier to solve the problem, and is easier to be more flexible as a remote company. So because we can have always a resource available, and sometimes if you have a dedicated resource, it becomes a blocker. And celebrate success. I think that's another one that is an important one. Every time that you have a success party or have a podcast about it. Like we did last time, like we did last week or the week 2 weeks ago or something.
Yeah, exactly. The Agreement Frame podcast, right? Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
We invited the team, and celebrate success is something that I guess most companies don't value that much. But it can be so simple, like if you have an e-commerce or, for any sales that you have or anything that you have an automation on your chat saying, we just made a sale or something like that. And so people can react, and it definitely makes the difference. Maybe sometimes it's going to be
like today saying that GIF.
Yeah, I love that.
But a client on Agreement Frame.
Cool. Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you.
All right.
Joe, I think it was an amazing chat. If you listening to us have any things you would like to comment on this, please let us know in the comments of this episode or whenever platform you're listening to this episode in our social media. We'll be very happy to read your comments here, maybe next episode. Who knows? And I really enjoyed this episode, Joe. I think it was very good.
Yeah, and if you want to join us on, let us know. Hit me on social media or LinkedIn or the Beer with the Boss on Twitter, LinkedIn, or me or Rodrigo. My handle is Joe Zamboni.
My handle is
Matos.
at Severo de Matos. Yeah, my surname. A little bit.
Severo de Matos. Yeah,
a little bit harder.
yeah, we're gonna make sure that we post on together on the
absolutely
comments.
Well, Joe, thank you so much, man, and I hope we can be here next week again. Yeah, me neither. I had 2 beers actually during this recording. Well, happy Friday for all of us. Yeah,
me too.
There we go. Well, thank you, everybody.
It was a long episode. Yeah. I think we should do this longer one. It's a good one.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Joe. See you next week, man.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo. See you next week.
Cheers.